Okay, it is crazy to me that we live in a country where we are just constantly getting scammed by everybody at every level of society all the time. And we are so exhausted by constantly getting scammed by everybody at every level all the time that we are all never going to do anything about it. That's the thing that makes me feel the most hopeless. It's like, well, nothing's going to change and nobody's just going to do anything about it, and they're just going to keep fucking us more and more until it won't matter anyway, because we'll all just die and be like, well, we're going to die one day anyway, so it doesn't even matter. And then our children, grandchildren, they will go through the exact same thing that we went through, where they'll naively go through the world thinking, oh, everything works the way that it's supposed to work and everything's normal. And then they'll slowly realize, actually, no, everybody's getting fucked constantly by everybody, constantly. And by the time they realize that, they'll be getting fucked even harder than us, but they won't know what it was like for us. So it'll just be a constantly repeating cycle until the entire world is ashes. I went to the dentist today because part of my tooth fell off. And I was like, that's not supposed to happen. So you would think that the way that would work is you would go to the dentist and you would say, part of my tooth fell off. And they would say, okay, we'll take care of that lickety split. You'll give us money and then you'll leave. But that's not the way that it works. Because for some reason, we have to pay the dentist mafia first. And the dentist mafia controls everything about going to the dentist. Why? I don't know. That's just the way that it is. And it's not just the dentist. All medical expenses are controlled by the mafia. It is literally the mafia. So I said, fine. How complicated could it really be, right? I mean, dental insurance. I'll just pay for the insurance month per month. That sucks. But what else am I going to do about it? I have to go to the dentist that part of my tooth fell off. So I'm self-employed. So I did last year sign up for a dental insurance plan myself. Because normally it goes through your employer for some reason. But because I'm self-employed, because I'm an artiste, I had to get dental insurance myself and pay the same premium, by the way, that it would be if you just got it yourself. Because when I had a job, it was like we still had to pay the same amount of money for the insurance anyway. Even though supposedly because we had a job, that was supposed to make everything easier. So last year, my tooth was hurting. The same thing that caused part of it to fall off. Cause and effect there. So I got the dental insurance. And I started paying for it. And then the pain went away. So I was like, okay, well, because the insurance isn't even going to cover all of the treatment. The insurance is going to cover some of it. And then we'll pay the rest of it. Again, for some reason. What is the reason? Nobody can answer that because there is not an answer. There isn't an answer. The answer is just they're the mafia. Ask anybody why insurance exists. They will either have no answer or they will tell you the same thing that I'm telling you, which is it's a scam. But I said, fine, I'll play ball. So I was like, well, at least now I have dental insurance. So if an emergency happens, if it starts to hurt or a part of my tooth falls off, then I can just go to the dentist because I have the insurance. I'm paying the mafia a certain amount of money every month. And in return, I will get the mafia favors, In return, they will allow me to have my medical treatment. Not just my oral treatment. Not the rest of my medical treatment. That's a different mafia. You have to go to a different mafia for your mouth. You have to go to the mouth mafia. You have to go to a mafia for every different part of your body and part of your health treatment. So I said, well, I have the insurance. It's not a big deal. So now, 1 year later, over a year technically, because it was the summer, it was August when I got the first plan, and then another August happened. And then a few more months happened after August, which is when part of my tooth fell off. So that happened, and I said, okay, well, I have insurance, right? I mean, I have the dental insurance because that's what I've been paying. I set up the auto pay because so that's what I'm paying for all this time, right? That's why I'm paying the dental mafia $100 a month to do nothing, but allow me to not go broke. So I started scrolling through my email, and I searched for the name of the insurance company, the name of the mafia, and I saw there was an email that said, because I get thousands of fucking pieces of junk all day long in the email. Just more scams, all scams. So I sort through all of these emails that just say random nonsensical bullshit to find the relevant piece of information that I'm trying to find. And by the way, if you are a marketing person who makes these emails, you are complicit in this too, you stupid fucking prick. I found the email that said, "We're sorry to see you go." And I was like, huh? I didn't leave. I've been paying this insurance. Why would I have left? I need to have dental insurance. I didn't leave. Looked into it, and apparently I guess I did leave because the plan had to be renewed. So I had to take extra action to say, sure, I'll continue the dental insurance past the completely arbitrary amount of time that is 1 year. Completely arbitrary. Why do I have to specify? The paying for it is the specifying that I still want it. If I didn't want it, I wouldn't pay for it anymore, or I would cancel it. Don't you want my money? That's the other thing. Don't you want my money for the insurance? So why did you just cancel my plan without me saying that I wanted to cancel it? That doesn't even if you think about it from the perspective of a scammer in the mafia, that doesn't make any sense. And there's probably some other scam reason why they do that. Or maybe there isn't. They just do whatever they want anyway. So I said, okay, fine. I'll sign up for another plan for another year. So I did that. And they said, congratulations. You are now set for life. They sent me a big picture of a lady smiling so euphorically happy like this. Yay! I have dental insurance! Yay! You're welcome. That's what the email said. You are welcome that you are now paying the dentist mafia to be allowed to go to the dentist. Aren't you happy about that? And I was like, well, I guess I'm happier than the other alternative. So sure. And they said, but you just have to wait 2 weeks before the insurance starts. And so I thought, why? If I paid the money that day, another arbitrary amount of time, why is it 2 weeks? Is there any reason why it's 2 weeks? At all? That makes any rational sense? Probably not. So again, I said, fine. I'll wait for 2 weeks. It's not the end of the world. Sure. What else am I going to do? Waited the 2 weeks. And I went to the dentist. And they took a look at my mouth and they said, yeah, you're fucked. 6 ways to Sunday. You know, this and this and this and this and this and this. This is your problem. This is your problem. This is your other problem. So you got to get all these problems fixed. So I said, okay. All right. Fine. I have insurance, right? So that's good. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal because I have the insurance. There's a couple of separate people for each process, you know. There's the receptionist who says hello and takes all of your information. There's the hygienist who does something else. There's the doctor who tells you all the problems that you have. And then there's the lady who tells you how badly you're about to get fucked by the insurance. That's her only job. And I gotta say, I feel really bad for that lady because that has gotta be rough. There's an insurance liaison. So that lady comes in, who's very nice, and she said, Mr. Henschel, and I could tell it was about to be bad. She said, so there's a 6-month waiting period for your insurance to cover any treatment at all. And I was like, excuse me? And she said, yeah, because you're self-employed, they want you, this is their logic, they want you to pay into the plan. Like the mafia. They want you to pay every month for 6 months so that they get a certain amount of money for doing nothing. And then, once you have paid them enough money, then they will allow you to go to the dentist. They won't tell you this on the website. They won't tell you this in anything. It was not in any emails. It was not on the thing. It was not conveniently with any of the pictures of the smiling, happy people that said, congratulations, you now are part of the dentist mafia. You need to go to the dentist now. So I was like, what? But that's half of the plan. That's half of the plan. The plan is 1 year that they will cancel after the 1 year. 6 months is half of that amount of time. Why? Just the way it is. Just the way it is. You know. So they said, well, you could call your insurance and you could see if you could figure this out. And I'd be like, what's there to figure out? So I'm just waiting 6 months. Because that's just the fucking way it is. And you know what? In a way, I am grateful. Because at least I'm really not getting fucked as badly as probably most of the rest of the country. You know? Sure, my whole tooth will fall out eventually. But that's not that bad, you know? Having all of your teeth is a luxury, after all. Having all but one of your teeth is a luxury. And I am so grateful to my insurance for reminding me how lucky I should feel to be in the situation that I'm in. And honestly, I am grateful for that. Thank you. That was very good perspective for me. Thank you. And life will go on. We all will just go on with our lives. Eventually we'll forget and we'll try to squeeze out any nice moments at all that we can before. And then it's somebody else's problem. somebody else's problem. And I feel bad for them, but eventually they'll die too, and it'll be somebody else's problem. Let's just keep punting the ball further down the court to somebody else. Until the entire world burns to the ground. Then it'll be nobody's problem. I am also just kind of curious how it got to this point. Because this is not just regular scamming. This is a maze. This is a labyrinth of scams that has been painstakingly, meticulously crafted over centuries to finally get to this point of complete and utter nonsense. So that's also something that's honestly kind of impressive. And it's interesting if you think about it in that sense too, you know. Pretty cool stuff.